What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Blue Side FC channel. I'm Nia Martin. I hope you're all doing great. I know as a Chelsea fan, we are not really doing that great because it has been a very tough round of games. In the past few weeks, we've lost 4 games in 5 matches, and it's crazy. The only game that we won is the game against Dynamo Zagreb in the Champions League. We lost to Brighton, we lost to Arsenal, we lost to City, and then now we've lost to Newcastle. So it's been a tough time. It's been a very tough time, and so I didn't expect much from this game, considering the fact that the World Cup is next week Sunday, and some of these players are going, most of our players are going, so they were always going to play this game very carefully. They were always going to hold back a bit to not get injured and not miss the World Cup. I was looking forward to seeing a little fight from them, but it looked like there was nothing. And from our previous games, we leave the fights late on to the end. We start fighting players, we start getting into small quarrels with players. I didn't really expect much from the players, but we'll talk more about the game in this video. But before I start, thank you all so much for getting me to 100 subscribers. Thank you so much for the support on the previous video. I did very well. It's one of my highest videos, and yeah, thank you so much for the support. If you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. This is a fun place, just like to talk about Chelsea. If you watch the end and you like the video, give the video a like as well. So yeah, so let's start. Let's talk about the game, and we start with the lineup. He went with the 3-4-2-1 formation. So yeah, so he went with Mendy in goal, Aspi, Chalobah, Koulibaly in defense, Loftus-Cheek, Jorginho, Kovacic, or Jorginho and Kovacic as the pivots, the main pivots in the midfield, and then Loftus-Cheek on the right wing, and then Hall on the left wing, and then Gallagher, Mount, Broja in attack. So Broja being the lone striker, and then Gallagher and Mount behind him. And yeah, I'm happy that Hall got a start in the Premier League. I don't know whether he has started in the Premier League before, I'm not sure, but I think this is probably the first time he has started. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. And I think he had a good performance. I'm not going to fault him. I think he had a good performance. He was able to keep Trippier very quiet in the first half. So yeah, this is the lineup that he went with, and to be honest, I didn't really see anything wrong with this lineup. We've been calling for Broja to start in the Premier League. I had some issues with him. We'll get to that very soon. And yes, in the beginning, I didn't really mind with the lineup. Jorginho, Kovacic, something we've not seen in a very long time, and we saw it this time. So that was it. I mean, when the game started, we knew we were in trouble because the game reminded me of the Brighton game. I'm not going to lie. It really reminded me of the Brighton game. When we played against Brighton, their high presses, their relentlessness, whenever there was a loose ball, they were on it with a flash. Anytime any of our players got a ball, you see 2 Newcastle players driving at that player, trying to win it, closing the angles down so the player can make a good pass, loses the ball, gets them, play on the counter. That's what they were doing. That's what they were doing the whole of first half and the second half too, until they got their goal and then they sat back to defend. It really reminded me of the Brighton game, but unlike the Brighton game where we got our asses beat, but it seems like we didn't learn from that Brighton game, and we've been suffering like that since then. We knew that this is going to be a long game. We knew that it was going to be a very long game, and it was a very long game. It was a very difficult game to us. Well, our passing in the midfield didn't help us as much. We're losing the ball quite a bit. Our attack too was non-existent and in the first half, and even in the second half we tried a bit after the goal came, but nothing really serious, nothing really threatening to them. We're not threatening at all in the first half. That first half was boring from a Chelsea fan's perspective. If you're a Newcastle fan, you would enjoy that first half because it was all Newcastle. Even the second half was also all Newcastle until they scored a goal. When they scored a goal, they sat back, and then we came into the game a bit, but it was too late. And that's the problem I have with Chelsea lately. When we played against Brighton, we played against Arsenal, we played against City, and now against Newcastle, we always started the game like in a lackluster mood. We always started the game in a nonchalant mood. Like, yeah, we are playing the game all right, but there wasn't urgency behind our passes. There wasn't any urgency behind our play. There wasn't any intensity in our play. We played very normal. We didn't play like a top 4 team should play. At least a top 4 vying team should play, because right now we are nowhere near top 4. We are nowhere near top 4, let's face it. The league is just gone. It's gone out of our hands. We don't even have EFL to look towards, and we now have only FA Cup and the Champions League, and God help us in those competitions, because the way we are performing now, it doesn't look like we're going to win anything if we keep performing like this. I hope things change after the World Cup. that's basically it. In the first half, we were outrun, outnumbered, whatever it is. It seemed like they had so many more players on the pitch, but it wasn't. They were just closing down our passes very well. We're not doing the same thing to them. Anytime they got the ball, we're not closing down. We're not closing down their players like they were closing down our players. There was always two players attacking our players. No matter who had it, there were always two players on us, and because of the way they were pressing, I was very, very worried whenever we passed the backwards to Mendy. I've been worried about those backward passes to Mendy since Kepa went out injured and he came in. I don't know, he's not really good under that kind of pressure. Mendy does a lot of things right, but whenever the ball is passed back to him, I don't know, he doesn't know what to do with it. He waits until the players get close to him, the opposing players get close to him before he makes a pass. And sometimes when he waits that long and he makes the pass, he often gives the ball away. There have been two instances since he came on for Kepa where the player has actually succeeded in blocking the ball, but fortunately both times it went out for a goal kick. And I remember we all remember that game against Leeds where he made that mistake and then they were able to score. It's not his best trait, and I think he needs to work on it. He needs to work on spreading the ball very, very quickly so that he's not under pressure, because it just seems like now most of the opposing fans have seen that this is how he is. So anytime he gets the ball, then they're all shouting whoa, and then because they know he's going to make a mistake. And fortunately in this game he didn't really make a mistake, but I was still really, really worried. That's my issue. And then in the first half too, we had a chance. I think we had a chance from Bruja, a very, very weak chance. I like the build-up. The build-up was very, very good, and I think Mount was the one who drove the ball into the opposition area, and then he gave it to Lewis Hall on the left-hand side. And then Mount wanted the ball back. He found Bruja in space and passed the ball straight to Bruja. And I think Bruja's effort on target was not the best. And I had an issue with Bruja to the whole game because the guy is good. We know he's good. We know he's a very good finisher. But I don't know, for some reason he can't beat his defenders. I don't know whether it's a Chelsea thing, because Werner had that problem. Now Sterling also is having that problem, and now it's falling down to Bruja. And I don't even know why that's an issue. I don't even understand why that's an issue, because we know these players can do. We know these players are very, very good with the ball on their feet. But I don't know why. It seems like Bruja doesn't know how to beat defenders that he faces. I don't know why he can't do that. In 1v1 situations, Bruja loses like 9 out of 10 times. And sometimes it seems like he's not quick, but we know Bruja is quick because off the ball he's very, very quick. And I know there's a difference between running off the ball and running with the ball. But when he gets the ball and he's running at defenders, he's way, 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 way slow, and it takes a long time to make certain decisions. I don't think this is the best outing for him. Mount and Gallagher behind him weren't really helping in the game, because for a large part in the first half they were defending. They're supposed to be attacking. They're supposed to be the ones feeding Bruja the ball. They're supposed to be the one creating chances for Bruja. But in the first half they were defending. Mount was defending. He was doing very well in defense. He was doing very well falling back and defending, because yes, the pressure was on us a lot in the first half, so they had to fall back. They weren't moving the ball forward that much. And then Loftus-Cheek got an ankle injury in the first 3 minutes, which was very, very bad. Another player injured again. Fortunately, he's not going to the World Cup, so he can recover quickly. And I don't even think he can even go to the World Cup if he was even called to the English national team, but he wasn't called. The 3 players that were called were Mount, Gallagher, and Sterling. And Sterling didn't even play today. I think it's because of the World Cup. Because of the World Cup, some of the players didn't play today. And Havertz didn't start. I knew that because I was going to the World Cup. That's why I didn't start. Thiago Silva didn't start because this World Cup is definitely going to be his final one. Koulibaly playing, so I was very, very worried because Senegal needs him. Sadio Mane is not going. And for me, it's better to put them on the bench. Someone like Thiago Silva, he has to go to the World Cup. He has to captain his team for the last time in the World Cup, and they are hoping to win it. So sometimes these things are understandable, but at the same time, we are supposed to be good enough to beat this Newcastle team. I know the Newcastle team has been in very, very good form, but we are supposed to be good enough. And we are Chelsea. We are supposed to have the right tools to be able to either beat them or draw them, but they dominated the entire game, and there was nothing we could do about it, to be honest. Now let's talk about the second half. The second half started the same way, but the second half, I think the press from Newcastle was more intense than even the press in the first half, because for like 10 straight minutes it was just Newcastle. When we got the ball, we always lost possession, and then anytime we were having a very, very good counter-attacking opportunities, and then somebody had to just make a poor pass and then give the possession away. Kovacic was doing it a lot. Jorginho was doing it. Mount was doing it. Gallagher was doing it. They were all doing it. Like, we have a good chance to run at the defense. We have a good chance to get a counter attack. You see Broja in space. You see Mount, Gallagher, players in space, and then we make a very, very poor pass, and then we give it away, and then that's it. That's the end of the counter attack. Done. So we did that a lot. We did that a lot in the game, not just the second half. We did that a lot in the first half too as well. After that, I think after the 55-minute going in, we started coming to the game. There was a small window where Chelsea decided to come up, decided to show some fight, and then I think we had a chance. Gallagher had a very, very good shot that was saved by Pope. Yeah, that was just it. That was about it. There was nothing else that happened. And then after that, their goal came, and their goal, yeah, it's definitely a deserving goal because they were the better team by far on the night, and Willock was one of their best players on the night. And I think it was Almiron that ran into the defense, took the ball into the middle, ran into the defense, and then there was a loose ball. I think he lost the possession. I don't know whether he meant to leave it for Willock, but he left the ball for Willock, and Willock just, it's a powerful shot into the top right corner of the net, and there was nothing Mendy could do because Mendy was also standing on the left hand side. I think Mendy was following Almiron's run. He was waiting for Almiron to take a shot, and Willock just came in from the left hand side and just took that shot away from Almiron. And I think Almiron intentionally left it for him because he saw him coming, left it for him. He was their best player up to that point, so he deserved that goal. Newcastle deserved that goal, and then they were a goal up. And then after that, then it looked like we had come back into the game. We started pressing them more, and I'm saying that we looked like, because the same thing happened against Brighton when they scored their goals and then decided to sit back, and it seemed like we were now playing well. We are now pressing them more. We're now pressing their defense more. But I think just a strategy that Newcastle also, like Brighton, Newcastle also did to protect that 1-goal lead, because they had very, very good defenders, and they were defending very, very well in the game. We were also defending very, very well. I think Koulibaly, Thiago Silva, Chalobah at the back, they were very, very good on the night, but there was nothing that they could do about that goal. There was nothing that they could do. Just that they were worried more than the Newcastle defense. So he made certain changes after the goal came. I think just after the second half, Pulisic came on for Aspie, but he made like a triple substitution after the goal came. He brought in Ziyech for Mount, he brought in Cucurella for Hall, he brought in Havertz for Broja. And I think it added a little bit of intensity in the game. But like I said, Newcastle decided to sit back. They didn't want to press again. They were defending that lead. So we were the ones attacking more now. And yeah, Ziyech didn't really add much to it. All his crosses were falling to Newcastle players. Cucurella on the left hand side, I think Cucurella was the better player out of the substitutes that came in. Yeah, I think he was actually the best amongst all the four, but it wasn't really a good performance from him too as well. But he was really running into the box, and he was putting good crosses into the box. I think he was at least doing better than Ziyech on the right hand side. Havertz, I don't know what to say about Havertz. Again, I'm going to put it down to the fact that they are all he's going to the World Cup, and he's thinking about the World Cup, and he's thinking about not getting hit, because some of the decisions that he was making, there was a cross that came in from the left hand side of Cucurella, and Havertz, instead of hitting it on target, he rather clipped it back into the box. He clicked it back into the box, but he was near the goalkeeper, and he couldn't even get that shot on target. He clipped the ball back into the box. I don't know whether he was hoping for somebody to be there, but you are the main striker, try and score. He didn't do it. And then there was a corner that came into where he was free, had a free header, and he couldn't get it on target. I'm just grateful that it's over. It's a World Cup season now. We can put Chelsea behind us for some time until the World Cup is over, because these run of games, if it wasn't going to end, it was going to be very, very bad. It was going to be very, very bad for us. And we just show urgency and fight late into the game, which is not the best. On Potter's job, I think he's still going to have it. I know a lot of people are saying that he might not have his job before the World Cup ends. He might get sacked before the World Cup ends. I'm not really sure about that. I think if Roman Abramovich was in charge, maybe he would have lost his job before the World Cup ends. But I think with Boli, they've made it clear that they want to start something with him. They want to start building something with him at the club, so they're going to give him enough time to do that. I'm just hoping they do, because I don't like this hire and fire system. I don't really like this hire and fire system. So I hope he's able to turn things around, because he was he is a very good manager. When he was at Brighton, he did very, very well at Brighton. He really changed the tide with Brighton, and his systems that he laid down is what they used to beat us. So it's not something that we can't do. We can do it, but I think because he hasn't managed a big team before, a lot of these things are not coming to him naturally. But I feel like the longer he stays at Chelsea, the more he gets used to the players and sees the players' strengths and stuff like that. I think he'll get better. I'm just hoping he gets better. I'm just being optimistic here. I'm hoping he gets better. I'm hoping that when the players come back, now there's no World Cup looming over their heads anymore, and then they play to their fullest. And yeah, and I hope we get on track when the World Cup ends. So yeah, so that's been my review for the Newcastle Chelsea game. And yeah, it's a disappointing loss, very, very disappointing loss. I know most of us didn't want to get a third straight loss, but we've had it, and there's nothing we can really do about it. Just hope that when the World Cup ends, we'll get better. So thank you so much for watching this video. I'm going to be starting the World Cup series for the World Cup. I'm going to be starting something small for the World Cup. I'm not going to have a system for it, like whatever it is that I feel like talking about the World Cup, but it's going to be Chelsea related. It's going to be related to the Chelsea players that are going to the World Cup. So yeah, so be subscribed for that, and then turn on your notifications too, so that when I start it, you'll be able to see it as well. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So until then, stay safe.